Hey, it's NPR's Book of the Day. I'm Andrew Limbong. Megha Majumdar's new book, A Guardian and a Thief, is about hope and love, but not in a squishy Pollyanna Hallmark card sort of way. Actually, the opposite. She's thinking about the scary, dark, sometimes violent actions that hope and love can drive people to take. Because she's not interested in moralizing, she's interested in the complex, in the human. In this interview with Here and Now's Jane Clayson, Majumdar goes into how her experiences with deep love led her to thinking about its darker sides. That's coming up.
This message comes from Schwab. Everyone has moments when they could have done better. Same goes for where you invest. Level up and invest smarter with Schwab. Get market insights, education, and human help when you need it.
This message comes from Mint Mobile. Starting at $15 a month, make the switch at mintmobile.com/switch. $45 upfront payment for 3 months. 5 gigabyte plan equivalent to $15 a month. Taxes and fees extra. First 3 months only. See terms.
The new novel, A Guardian and a Thief, is set in Kolkata, India, in the not-so-far-off future. There is famine and floods, and families resorting to desperate measures in order to survive. One family of 3, Ma, her elderly father, and her 2-year-old daughter have a chance to escape. But a theft puts that chance in jeopardy. The book weaves together Ma's story with the story of their burglar. A Guardian and a Thief is a finalist for the National Book Award for Fiction. It's also this month's Oprah Book Club selection. And author Megha Majumdar joins us from NPR New York. Welcome and congratulations.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's wonderful to have you. Well, this novel is set in a near-future version of Kolkata, your actual hometown, which has been devastated by climate change. What was the original spark for this story? Why this world and why now?
As you said, I am from Kolkata. I spent the first 19 years of my life there, and it is one of the cities in the world which is most severely affected by climate change. It has grown hotter. It is predicted to endure more storms, and reading about that was heartbreaking. Imagine reading that kind of dire prediction about your own hometown. It was a place of sorrow, and from that place of sorrow, I started thinking about, well, what are love and hope and connection with your family and connection with your community going to look like in that kind of catastrophe?
The novel opens with this break-in that changes everything for this family. Your central character, Ma, is days away from leaving India with her daughter to join her husband when this thief named Boomba steals their food and their immigration papers. What did you want to explore about hope, about migration in this story?
One very interesting thing about hope for me is that we often assume that it is this noble, unassailable thing. But in a situation of scarcity and crisis, what if hope gains manifestations which are vicious and mean and sly? What if our hope for our children, our family, clashes with the hope of the collective, the hope of the neighborhood and the city? Who will we become when we try to navigate that gap between who we want to be and who we truly are?
Well, that's so interesting because the book doesn't have heroes or villains in a traditional sense, right? Boomba the thief is acting out of love for his family. Even Ma, who works in a shelter, is stealing food and money from her work in order to survive. There's a line in the book where you say, love can become fanged in times of distress. What does that mean to you?
I had my older child early in the writing of this book, and that experience of new motherhood changed everything about this book for me. For a while, I had been really struggling and failing to write a different kind of plot set in the same world of a near-future India with the same moral dilemmas, but the plot really wasn't working. And then after I had my first son, I grew so interested in the ferocity of a mother's love. What do you do with that kind of encompassing, impossible kind of love? And what do you do when there is great pressure put on that love? I think all of us who are parents understand what I mean by that love, but imagine that love tested. Imagine that love in a time of devastation. What would it push you to do? And who would you be in terms of retaining your moral center?
Yes, and what I loved about this story is that no one is purely right or wrong. Everyone is trying to protect someone that they love.
Absolutely. Most of us believe we are good and decent people acting in ways that are aligned with our faith in ourselves, our faith in our essential goodness. But what happens when our love tests that belief?
And as I was reading, I wondered if you think crisis changes our morality or simply exposes it.
That's a fantastic question. It's a question that I wrestled with during the writing of this book and continue to wrestle with as a person. I think that there is no way of really knowing where our true self resides. Are we our true selves right now in our fairly comfortable lives as we are going about our daily work, preparing meals, caring for our families? Or will we be our true selves when we are in a situation of crisis and scarcity and catastrophe?
What drew you to write a story where morality is so complicated?
The thing about fiction that I love is that through these completely made-up scenarios, fiction leads us to the truth. I am very interested in the complexity of human beings, how we can contain so many contradictions, and how, especially now as we live under systems that do not serve most of us, we are forced to make moral choices on a smaller scale every day. And our self is composed of the sum of those choices, and I'm very interested in the choices that we make.
And all those contradictions in real life and in the book leave the reader to wonder who really is a guardian, who really is a thief.
You're right. I wonder if part of what the book might encourage a reader to consider is that we each contain a guardian and a thief. We each contain elements which are loving and hopeful and generous and kind, and elements which might be vicious and sly and selfish.
Kolkata feels like a character in this novel, scarred by heat, flooding, hunger, but still very much alive. How did your own memories of growing up and your connection to the city shape the story that you tell?
My memories of growing up in Kolkata are absolutely elemental to this book. One thing that I wanted to write about, even though the book is so much about an imagined future catastrophe, I wanted to bring into the book how resilient and loving and humorous the people of Kolkata are. I wanted to write about the art on the streets, the way in which the people chat with each other, rely on each other, the way in which even thin connections with acquaintances become real relationships when you need help, and how people are not afraid to ask for help. I think all of those things make Kolkata an incredibly joyous and special place to grow up in, and I wanted to bring that lightness and that radiance into the book.
And there is also so much despair in this book. And as we said, it's set in the near future, and there is something so bleakly plausible about it. Is there possibility of hope? And what do you want readers to take away from the book?
First of all, I hope readers feel invited into the book. There are so many good books to read. I care very much about the claim that a book makes on a reader's time. And I hope they feel that their time is rewarded. And at the end of the book, I hope that a reader is left thinking about the central question that drove me as I was writing the book, which is, what do you do when your love for your children threatens to obliterate your moral self?
Megha Majumdar. Her novel is A Guardian and a Thief. Megha, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. What a special occasion to be here.
And just a reminder that signing up for Book of the Day Plus is a great way to support NPR's book coverage and public media. And you'll get to listen to every episode sponsor-free. So please go find out more at plus.npr.org/book of the day.
This message comes from NPR sponsor Pete and Jerry's Eggs, inviting you to tag along with one of their organic, pasture-raised hens as she heads out for her day in the pasture. She and her friends start to roam and forage, hunting for tasty organic snacks. And with 108 square feet per hen, there's plenty of space for everyone. Under the open sky, they can hear songbirds nesting in the trees. They bask in the sounds of nature as they prepare to lay their rich, delicious eggs. And when the sun starts to set, the crickets begin to sing. Time to catch one last squiggly snack before bedtime. To learn more about Pete and Jerry's organic pasture-raised eggs and the certified humane farms where their hens roam, visit peteandjerrys.com. This message comes from Superhuman, the AI productivity suite that gives you superpowers everywhere you work. With Grammarly, Mail, and Coda coming together, you get proactive help across your workflow so you can outsmart the chaos. Experience AI that proactively helps you go from to-do to done faster. Unleash your superhuman potential today. Learn more at superhuman.com/podcast. That's superhuman.com/podcast.